Welcome to the Jeff Knows Inc. Entrepreneurial Podcast with your host, Jeff Lopes. Jeff has over 2 decades experience as a serial entrepreneur, building brands like Kimura from his home basement to a multi-million-dollar global brand that has sold over 250,000 pairs of boxing gloves. Jeff's here to educate, guide, and drive you on the process of bringing your ideas and dreams to reality with the inspiring stories from some of the top business minds.
Welcome to episode number 51 of the Jeff Knows Inc. podcast. I'm your host, Jeff Lopes. Our next guest today does not need much of an intro. Completely honored to have her kick off to season 3, Evan Carmichael. Sit back, everyone, and enjoy. We are live on the Jeff Knows Inc. podcast. I'm your host, Jeff Lopes. A super stoked and excited today. We have a special guest on from Toronto, Canada, our home, Evan Carmichael. Evan, give a shout out to everyone.
Jeff Knows. Thanks for having me, man. Great to be here.
I love it. I love your background too. I always start out my podcast just for the audience and to get to know who you are, what you're currently doing, and then we just let the conversation flow and start flowing from there. So, Evan, what are you currently up to?
I'm talking to Jeff. Come on now. That's what I'm up to. This is the highlight of the day. Let's go. What am I currently up to? Today we're recording this on a Thursday. Thursday is my public facing day, and I'm basically doing podcasts and shows and Skype calls all day. And I'm just so present focused, man. Like all I'm focused on is being here with you on your show, trying to bring as much value as possible.
That is awesome. So you're born and raised in Toronto?
Yes. What
high school did you go to?
I went to Crescent, which is at Bayview and Lawrence area.
Yeah.
It's a private school, and pros and cons. Got a great education. My parents aren't super wealthy. They middle class, and they spent all of their money basically putting me and my 2 sisters through private schools. And I was basically one of the poorest people at the school. So, it's the kind of school where like at 16, your parents would buy you a Mercedes that you can then go drive to school. And I'm sitting there waiting for my sister to pick us up in our kind of clunky old K car or Lada. And there was one other guy who was also, the poor guy, I guess. So we became pretty good friends at the school. But yeah, Crescent School. I was there from not just high school, from elementary, like middle and elementary almost. What year did I go there? Grade 5? Grade 4? I had a lot of learning issues growing up. I had a lot of bad schools and bad teachers and low self-confidence. And so I think that was part of also what drove my parents to say, like, how do we just solve this problem so that our kid doesn't grow up messed up?
Very, very good. I went to, I don't know if you know it, Oakwood High School.
Okay.
St. Clair in Dufferin area.
Okay, not too far.
Yeah, not too far. That's where I grew up, in St. Clair on Dufferin and St. Clair. I grew up there. Then I moved up to Brampton, where our head office is, when I got married and had kids and stuff. You have 1 or 2 children?
I have an 11-year-old son. Dufferin St. Clair too is I'm half Italian, so that's all little, Italians. Yeah,
little Italy there.
It's a great area.
Yeah, it's a fantastic area. So with your new book, that's a big part of your promotion now and what you're doing. Let's talk about it. What drove it? What was your mindset when you're writing it? And how long did you take to put it together?
So it's called Built to Serve.
Yeah, I see it there. Here. Yeah, I see it. Big smile beside it.
Yeah. The idea is that you're built to serve, that if you're not happy right now as a human, it's because you're not serving. Serving or helping others hits the same part of your brain as having food and having sex, which are also pretty important, turns out, to be a human. And we know how good it feels to help somebody, whether it's buying a coffee for somebody behind you in line or open the door for somebody. It feels good, but it's kind of momentary, where your purpose actually comes from your pain, where if you recognize that whatever pain you went through, whatever struggle you went through, your purpose is to help other people who are currently like that. And there's many people who are currently like that. That ends up being the unlock for the rest of your life. It'll never get old. You'll never get tired of helping the people who are currently going through the pain that you went through. And so I wrote the book when I was on tour. I went on tour last year. We did 90 days, 23 cities, crazy tour across the US. And I wasn't talking about this. I was talking about other stuff. And it kept coming up in every city. How do I find my passion? How do I find my purpose? What am I supposed to be doing? I don't know. I don't have clarity or direction. And I just help people in the workshops say, oh, that's actually pretty easy. Like, you don't need to go sit on a mountaintop for 10 years to figure out your purpose. You don't have to hire a $40,000 business coach or something. Like, there's a 3-step process that I walk people through: who, why, how. And then in a lot of those sessions, somebody else would say, oh, pick me and pick me. And then my workshops kind of got hijacked by helping people figure out their purpose through this process. And so about a third of the way through the tour, I decided I need to make this a book. I mean, it's crazy how much people are struggling with this in every city that I'm going to. And Jeff, I didn't have time to write a book. I was already on tour. Everything's already behind. We're also spending a day. So every 4 days we're in a new city. And one of those days was traveling. And one of those days was actually seeing the city, because my wife wanted to try the food and see the local stuff and the architecture and all that. So now I'm already down to, 2 to 2.5 days every 4 of actually working. But I said, you know what, I have to write this book. And sometimes those projects just call to you. And
did you have a ghostwriter, or you did it on your own?
Oh no, I don't have a ghost. I write everything. Everything
awesome.
I make is
awesome.
Yeah, it's me.
Awesome.
The audiobook I read myself.
That's awesome.
I insisted on it. I mean, they paid me to do it, but I would have done it for free, or I would have made sure that I read it, because I didn't want a voice actor doing it. And the last third of the book I actually wrote. It came together very quickly in terms of writing it, but the process of coming up with the content has been years, right?
Yeah, of course.
Been doing all the work that I've been doing for the past 20 years. I broke my neck 2/3 of the way through my tour. So with a month left of my tour, I'm in Colorado, and I break my neck in 2 spots.
How did that happen?
I fainted. I like biohacking stuff, but I also have a really weak stomach. Yeah. And so I was researching some biohacking stuff and just passed out. I've never fainted in my life. I passed out, and nothing glamorous, not like you should see the other guy, or I was skydiving or something. I was sitting in a chair reading and passed out. And I hit my head. I hit my head here on the drywall, and then the back of my head, I cut open on the baseboard, and broke my neck in 2 spots, and had a concussion and compressed my spine and all this stuff. And
how long ago was this?
This was March of last year.
So still pretty recent.
Yeah. So on my wife's birthday. Yeah. March last
year. How are you feeling now?
Almost there. There's still some little bit of rehab and stuff going. But that was one of the hardest decisions of my life. The most physically painful thing I've ever gone through in my life, for sure. And also, I don't know if you ever had a concussion, but that was my first concussion ever. And not being able to think clearly is not something I'm used to, and was really, really, really hard. Anyway, so I continued on the tour because everybody wanted me to go home, but I wanted to continue on the tour because talking to entrepreneurs, helping them is my purpose, and that's healing for me.
Yeah.
I would much rather be in a hotel room, banquet hall, whatever, in Minnesota with 3 pillows behind me and an ice pack on me for 4 hours while I sit at the front of the room talking. I'd much rather do that than just be at home lying in bed. Like, this was healing for me. And I wrote the last part of the book when we were going to New York. From Toronto to New York is about an 8.5 hour, 9 hour drive. Yeah. And I had a meeting there, and I wasn't allowed to fly because of my broken neck, the pressure up and down. They didn't clear me to fly. So we had to drive there for a meeting. And I couldn't drive either because I'm wearing this neck brace for 60 days. So my wife had to drive. And so I sat, in the passenger seat, which I'm not used to. And we drove to New York and back for my meeting. And I wrote the last third of the book in the car while she was driving. So it all came together pretty quickly. And it just felt like it had to get out. It had to be released. And so far the reviews have been pretty good. But yeah.
No, congrats on
grateful.
that, buddy. It's a lot of work going behind writing a book, right? And it's a lot of, like I said, it doesn't happen overnight. It's a lot of years of experience and knowledge, and it builds up to that one moment when it's the right time to do it. So I appreciate that part of it. When you're doing your tour last year, how many stops did you say you did?
23 cities in 90 days.
That's crazy. That is a lot of
Does sound
movement.
crazy, right?
It does. It does. When you think of the number, because you're saying the traveling time, the downtime, it's just those 90 days, those 3 months are just go.
Me, my wife, my camera guy, and we drove. We rented a Suburban, and we drove from Toronto all the way to San Diego and back.
Which is crazy. Which is to San Diego. So you're looking at, if you were to drive straight, you're looking at a 7-8 day drive almost.
It depends on how many stops, but it's a long drive. But we stopped. Most drives were 6 or so hours.
So it was right through the U.S. You didn't do any Canadian stops through the time, or it was all right through the U.S.?
All U.S. Yeah. Toronto. I did a Toronto. Toronto I did our hometown. I did Toronto as a test run. Yeah. And I just brought some of my friends to say, hey, I did the tour because my greatest fear is disappointing people, and getting on stage. I love doing the work, but it terrifies me the most, because my biggest fear is I'm going to get on stage and I'm going to disappoint people, and I don't want to waste somebody's time. And so I thought, how do I crush this? Well, I'm going to get on stage every 4 days in a different city, just beat it out of me. And so that, the tour came together pretty quickly. And Toronto, San Diego, back.
Was that your first experience with this type of networking or this type of events, or you did this in the past?
I've done a lot of speaking in the past.
I'm aware of that.
It's still something that terrifies me. Before I go on stage, every time I'm still super afraid.
It's probably one of the number one biggest fears is public speaking, right? So it's something that's it's something that some people get comfortable with, but it's still, I mean, those butterflies are just your emotions, right? It's like an athlete going onto a live game right there. That raw emotion was what makes it special, right?
Yeah, and I because I'm so worried about disappointing people, that would be just the cycle going in my head. Brendan Bouchard brings me out to his event in Puerto Rico. The people have paid $30,000 to $50,000 to be here, and I'm going to go on stage and blow it and be a disappointment to everybody, right? That's like the talk that I have to fight in my head before going up on stage.
And this is something you've always had in your back of your mind, because obviously you're very successful at what you do. So you would think after a while you'd be so confident that it would be absolutely nothing just to step on stage, but you're still feeling that. Is that something you've always struggled with? The belief in you have to keep everybody happy?
I put pressure on myself that I want this to be the best. Like when you ask me, what am I up to right now? I'm talking to Jeff. Like, this matters to me. I want this to be the best interview that you've done, that I've done. And maybe it's not. Maybe I'm the worst interview you've done, in the past 10. Or maybe I end up being much better for the next 4 episodes I'm doing. But it's my intention going in. And because I put that pressure on myself to try to show up, then it makes me nervous. And I think it's a good thing. Like, I think if you don't have anything that makes you nervous, that makes you anxious, that gives you some stress in a positive way, I think you hate your life. Like, I think otherwise you're just photocopying the same day over and over and over again.
I love that.
And so, every time I get on, an interview. Now I've already done 2 today. So
you have, huh?
It's just like, it's carrying you're getting the energy that I already had in the last 2. It's like, it's carrying forward and carrying over. Yeah. But before I do my first one, I'm always a little bit nervous. Not because I haven't, it's logically, yes, I've done it. How many interviews have I done? How many videos have I done? Even before I make a YouTube video, I'm still nervous. I've done 6,000 videos. Why am I still nervous? Because I want this to be the best one I've done.
Yeah, I love that.
If I want to just keep doing it the way I've done it, then I could do that again.
I was just recently listening to a gentleman, and he was talking about every single day is so important for him to try something new every day. And it could be something simple where he'll take a different path on his daily walk, or something simple just to experience something different every day. So I love that aspect, because it kind of clicks in my head when you're saying that it's you're trying to have that different experience. You're trying to make it the best you can. So I love that part of it. Yeah,
I mean, I had Kevin O'Leary on my show earlier this week Shark Tank Dragons
Yeah,
Den.
yeah, of course. Yeah.
And I don't know Kevin. I mean, I know a lot of the people in the personal development entrepreneur kind of space, but not the Shark Tank guys. Mm-hmm. And I mean, there's lots of people I don't know. So this is the first time I'm meeting Kevin. And the first hour leading up to that interview where I had him on my show, I was useless. You know, I plotted an hour of my calendar to prepare for the show. It's like, I know Kevin, what he's doing kind of, but I don't really know what he's doing right now. Right.
Yeah.
You know him from Shark Tank.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But like, what does he care about right now? I don't know. So let me spend some time going through his Instagram and his website and just see kind of what he's talking about. So we have some conversation points, because I don't want him to come on and be disappointed by, you know, what we're creating. Now, logically, I could say, well, Kevin's a pro. How many interviews has he done? Like, he could just carry the show by himself. Yeah. I've already had Tony Robbins on and Gary Vee on and all these guys. So why am I so worried? But it's still the emotional side of things. And that it took me maybe 15 minutes to actually prep for the interview, just to get to the point. Like, okay, I know what we're going to talk about. And then the rest of the 45 minutes leading up to it was just basically wasted time. You know, I couldn't really do anything that required focus because I was still just nervous about.
I'm laughing now because what you're saying was me today.
Yeah,
and it's crazy because I've this whole podcast world, this whole self-building a brand of myself just started. That journey just started about 6 months ago. I've been a successful entrepreneur for 24 years. I've done well for myself and with numerous companies, and this is a different venture for myself. So every time I bring somebody on, I had David, very similar. A couple of weeks ago, we had David Meltzer on, and it's the exact same thing. So when you get somebody of a certain stature like yourself, the 15 minutes, and usually when I podcast with most people, I'm going to be honest with you, I don't research anybody. And because I like having a raw conversation, I just like them talking, and then I just pick and nick with certain stuff. But for yourself, for some reason, I was like, you know what, I gotta research a bit more. So I did a little 15 minutes research, and then about 45 minutes, like, okay, let's go, wait for the time to come. So it's that almost excitement, which is fun, right? I enjoy it. And that's the reason I started this podcast. Is I've done 60 something interviews in the 6 months, and it's the amount of entrepreneurs I've met and networking and learning. I'm always learning. I love learning everything. I'm a strong believer in the day you die is the day you stop learning. So every time I try to take a little something from each interview and take it towards myself and incorporate it into my lifestyle. So I appreciate everything you're saying, because it hits right home when you're saying that, with that little nerves and that excitement, right?
I think it's great. I think it's healthy. Like, I think it can be debilitating. I think, you know, Evan from 10 years ago might have stressed out for a week before Kevin O'Leary coming on. Evan from 15 years ago probably would have found a reason not to do the show with Kevin O'Leary, right? I would have found that, I'm too busy, or really because I'm just afraid that it's not going to go well. So find an excuse out. But, you know, an hour before, I think it's good. I think if you look at your calendar, look at the week ahead, look at the month ahead, and there's nothing in there that makes your heart beat a little bit faster.
Yeah.
I think you hate your life. Like, I think you have to have some of those things in your calendar. Otherwise you hate your life.
No, I love that part. There's one thing I don't know if you had a chance to take a look at it, but I threw you a message. I know you're crazy busy with your social media. I threw a message to you. You had done a post saying, and it's something you hashtag strongly, and most of your posts is hashtag believe. And you done a post, and I think you did an interview and said hashtag believe in yourself. And that's something. My son was born 12 years ago. We went through 4 months of sick kids. He was diagnosed with CP, and he became my purpose. And he was originally supposed to be in a wheelchair, and I got him out of a wheelchair. He was in AFOs. I got him out of AFOs. He's my purpose. And now he's getting ready to run his first little marathon at 12 years old. Nice, and he's became my purpose.
Sorry, what's CP?
Cerebral palsy.
Oh, cerebral palsy. Okay, great. Yeah.
So, and we've shattered every barrier. Like, if you take a second look at my post, you'll see this kid. He's 12-year-old, jacked, works out every day, plays baseball. And I've kind of broken that barrier because he became my purpose. I had a drive to get him. And that also it actually helped my companies as well, because it focused me to focus on passive income. And I started getting into a lot of vacation rentals. Like, I got properties up in Blue Mountain, Muskoka. So I started doing a lot of different ventures. One thing I've always said to him is you're gonna be picked on. There's kids that are gonna be mean to you because you have AFOs, you have braces, and on your legs and stuff like that. And this is now he's out of them. But I always said to him, it was one thing I instilled from day one, is believe in yourself. And I got signs made for him and my daughter, and they're outside their bedroom right on top of their door. It says in wood, a huge sign that says "Believe in yourself." So every time they go to bed every night, they look at that sign, and I try to instill them. So when I saw that, it hit close to home when you said that, which I appreciate as very, very much. It's a huge thing. I think a lot of parents have to instill in their children is that constant drive of believing in yourself. So that was a big thing when I saw that. I was like, I gotta get this guy on my show, right?
Cool. I mean, my parents used to always, they're on my wall behind me. So this is a picture here where I'm 8 or 9 years old in this picture, so maybe a little bit younger than your guy now, but and my parents here, and they would always tell me that you're Evan Carmichael. You can do anything that you believe that you can. And that's a message that is still kind of, that's why they're on the wall here. So when I walk into here,
are your parents still with us?
Yeah, they're still here. They're 7-minute drive from where I'm at right now.
So that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, and they still have that same voice. But I remember being a kid, and I had a whole bunch of issues, learning issues. I mean, in school, I used to hide under my desk and not participate in class. If like classroom, everybody's sitting down, and I'm sitting under my desk. So I had a lot of issues in school, growing up. And my parents, it's partly why they spent all their money on trying to put me in good schools, because they wanted me to believe in myself more. So yeah, I love what you're doing with your kids. I think of Nick Tabor, who came to my workshop last year in Toronto, and he's one of the first, if not the first, personal trainer who has CP. Okay. And so his most important core value is the climb. So he talks about it being a climb of, he's got cerebral palsy, but he's a personal trainer helping other people to overcome their obstacles. And a lot of it's just the mindset obstacles to push you to where you need to go.
Yeah, 100%. So your relation with your parents they're close, which I love, because my parents are still they're in Etobicoke now, so they're only about 30 minutes from us. How was their influence when you decided to venture on your own? Because you worked in you ventured first in the software industry. I mean, that was your first business. Yeah,
and they always believed in me when nobody else did. So starting in the software company, instead of taking the 6-figure job that I thought I wanted, and all my friends wanted, and people thought it was crazy for taking, not taking that job, and they would just tell me, "Hey, you're Evan Carmichael. You can do anything you believe that you can," and that helped give me the courage and confidence to say, "All right, I'll give it a shot. I'd rather know and fail than not know." And so, yeah, they never gave me that, like, they're not entrepreneurs. And so they don't know how to give me kind of business advice or what to do with my YouTube channel or anything like that. But just the belief, like believe in yourself, back to that hashtag that you talk about, with your kids, that's what they gave me. And so that's what I'm trying to give to the world too.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I'm going to ask you 2 quick questions I always ask all our audience before we head out today. In a few words, if you were gone today, how would you want to be described by the closest relatives or closest friends?
I don't know. I don't really think about that. I'm dead. So I don't really think about legacy, but hopefully they feel it more than how they describe it. Hopefully they feel a little bit more belief in themselves and want to spread that belief to other people as well. So if a little bit of Evan's spirit lives on, sprinkling belief, magic dust on people, I think that's great.
That is awesome. And last question I had for you for today, superpower. If you had one superpower, what would it be?
The ability to shift somebody's self-belief.
But I think you're doing that already.
I'm trying, but I'm nowhere close, man. Like I think lack of belief is the world's biggest problem.
Yeah, like, I think 1,000% agree.
People have got, like, all the people on your wall are great. Like, I am Ali. I love it. Everybody could be Ali at something.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
not
100%.
And it's probably not the thing that they're doing now, where they went to school for, their parents did, but something like you could be Ali or Winfrey or Einstein or Jobs or Jeff at something. But they just don't believe that they can. And so that's the mission I'm on with every podcast I do, every video that I make. Hopefully I can unlock like one extra person, but I'm never going to solve that problem. So if I had a superpower, that's what I would do.
That is awesome, brother. I appreciate you taking your time in your busy schedule. Any last things you want to tell our audience before you head out today?
Just make today count. Like it's easy to get inspired, and I'm sure if you've been listening to Jeff's stuff, you're motivated. You have that extra belief in yourself, but do something today. So many people wait till tomorrow, wait till Monday, wait till their birthday, wait till January 1st, wait till summer's over, wait till whatever, right? Some fancy date in the future. Like today matters. Today matters. What are you going to do today? You learn something from this episode. Hopefully you feel a little bit more inspired. Great. Before you go to bed tonight, what can you do to make yourself proud of the day that was?
I love it, brother. Thank you very much. On all our show notes, we're going to put all the info to get a hold of Evan. And if you want to get a part of any of his programs, pick up his book, Inspirational Individual, great heart, doing great things in this world. And I greatly appreciate you taking your time in your busy schedule to be a guest on our show. Thank you so much, brother.
Awesome, Jeff. Thanks for having me, man.
Thank you, brother. That's a wrap for today. I want to thank our guest, Evan Carmichael, for taking the time of his busy schedule to be a guest on the Jeff Knows Inc. podcast. What an honor once again. If you guys enjoy this show as much as I did, tell your friends, tell your family. We're trying to build something special here. Leave a review. 5 stars will be absolutely amazing. Until next week, everyone, always move forward.